Hey guys, so for today's lesson, it's going to be a little bit different since we have already finished both of our text, Pioneers to the West and Going West. So today you're just going to need your notebook. So if you don't have that ready yet, pause this video and go grab it. Today we're going to be talking about informational text versus narrative text, which are the two different type of text that we've learned about in this module. So we know that informational text is real life text that gives information. So let's start with that. We'll take that note. Is real life text that gives facts and information. So the book, Pioneers to the West, was actually an informational text because it was about real life. It had real people in it. It told about actual people's lives that headed west, real pioneers. It showed maps, and it gave facts and information about way back when these pioneers first started heading west back in the 1800s. So that's what informational text is. Whereas the difference is when we talk about narrative text, a narrative we learned a couple times. One example of our first narrative that we read this year was Trouble at the Sandbox. And it's a narrative because it's just a story. So it doesn't necessarily have to be true. It has characters in it, and the characters come across usually a problem, and then by the end of the narrative, the problem is solved, or, it just tells a story. It's not about facts and information. It's just fictional. It just tells a story. So narrative text tells a story with characters. So an example of our narrative text would be Going West, because even though that narrative was about people that could have been living in real life back then, we don't know if they were. We don't know if that's a true story or not. Those were just characters, and they were telling about their lives on the prairie. Whereas Pioneers to the West was an informational text because it actually talked about people in history and people that actually traveled west to find new land. So now today for your Google form, you are going to have to answer the question, what kind of text do you most like to read? Do you prefer to read informational text that gives facts and information? Or do you prefer to read narrative text that tells a story with characters? So this is just an opinion today. You can either say, I prefer to read informational text because, or you could say, I prefer to read narrative text because, but you need to tell why you pick which one you like better. And then the last part of our Google form today is our vocabulary. Let's see if we can fit this in. And we only have one vocabulary word today, and that's progress. And what progress is just moving forward in a positive way. Progress is a thing, so it is a noun. So you could make progress on things like I made a lot of progress in school this year, or I made a lot of progress on my soccer team this year. So you should use that word in a sentence. So again, your Google form should be quite simple today. You just have to write one sentence with progress, and then you need to tell me which type of text do you like better, informational text or narrative text, and then tell why. All right, so get these notes down, and then you can go ahead and do your Google form. Take your time, proofread as always, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. See ya.